Kitty cat. Dog. Kitty cat. Alright. Yeah. Figured it's about time to do another full garden update. Um, it's actually pretty nice out this morning. It was dead hot the last week, but we had a little front come through. I didn't get any rain, unfortunately, but it did bring some cooler morning weather with it. But it's really nice. The animals are enjoying it. Birds are enjoying it. I think the plants are enjoying it. Um, but lot has changed since I last did a video. Um, lots of fruit starting to pop up on things I never had fruit on before. My Patanga tuba here finally has a couple of fruits popping in. The Patomba, which is actually, where's it at? I moved it over there because it's got ants in the pot. I'm trying to remove them without putting any poison in them, so I'll go over that here in a minute. But they're farming scale on it, and unfortunately the ants are placing the scale on the fruits, which is really annoying, but it doesn't seem to affect the fruit. But I keep picking them off it. But I guess I'll do some rounds in here. Starting on this side, got this rose apple here. Seems to do pretty good. It had a problem with, I think it still has scale on it, but I ordered 3,000 ladybugs. I'm going to release half of them in here in the lanai and the other half outside, so that'll take care of that. But it gets this, like the black sooty mold on it, but it's actually peeling off. So it'll come off after a while. It's more of a cosmetic thing than anything. I mean, I'm sure it affects the photosynthesis, but I mean, this thing grows so damn hard that I don't think it really matters. But it's doing pretty good. This is actually my mom's plant, so I may or may not be keeping it, depending on how she feels. But let's see, what else is going on over here? Yellow Grimichama. Still no flowers, but it's looking really nice. The yellow ones seem to have bigger leaves than the black one. And the new growth, I think a bug got on here and started eating some of the new growth, but the new growth on these yellow ones looks a lot more brilliant than the black ones. Got a yellow Wampy down here, which some weirdness in the growth. I probably just need to repot it or put it in the ground or something, but it's doing all right. Got the Anomaly from Adam. It did flower. I don't think it set any fruit. I'm not surprised, but it's doing pretty good. Like, it's got a whole bunch of new branches coming out, and because it's grafted onto Sabra, it actually handles just being watered with the tap water pretty well. There's a little bit of tip burn here, but that's pretty normal for the Jaboticabas. I find like just they have the tip burn on the leaves occasionally. Not sure why. Maybe it's a humidity thing or too much nutrients all at once. I'm not sure, but this is the Myrceria strigipes that I got from the Manatee County fruit sale, and it's just, I potted it up as soon as I got it home, and it has been pushing out just new growth. I mean, it looks a lot like the Glazioviana. I'm sure they're closely related. I wonder if they can cross-pollinate. I'm sure they can. That'd be interesting. But from what I understand, this one's pretty close to a fruiting size. So I'm pretty happy with it, and it seems to be happy with me. So see if we can keep it in a pot as long as possible in here. But yeah, what else we got over here? So just got a bunch of little sour sops. They're coming back from the winter. They drop their leaves and they kind of go dormant and then come back. I find all the Anonas here do that. At least all the ones that I have do that. I got some Cherry of the Rios in here. I'll probably actually start grafting onto those once they get a little bigger, because I've got those Garnet Cherry of the Rios that I got off the fruit farm thing from Kevin. And the the fruit quality on these is not great, but the plant grows. It grows like a weed here. I got one out front that's like 10 feet tall that I'm gonna have to prune back, and I might actually top work that one to a garnet. Because I tried a fruit off of it yesterday, and they're not super great, but they're not bad. But anyways, so I got another Eugenia here. I've got a bunch of these anthropophagas, but this is the one that's kind of doing the best. And they seem to don't mind the city water too much, if at all. Actually, the leaves on this look really good. So this is all new growth coming back after it got decapitated. Got some orchids in here. I'm hoping at some point when my mango trees get bigger, I'll actually put these orchids in the mango trees. I found a wild, I can't remember if I did a video on this, but I found a wild muscadine grape in my yard, and I just kind of pulled it up because I didn't want it growing in the middle of the pathway. I was seeing like how well would it do if I transplanted it, and it seems to be it's doing pretty good. So figure that one out. I don't want it to go too crazy, but kind of a little experiment. Picked up a calamondin for like $20 from Walmart. It looked nice. So yeah, I like citrus, so why not? Going on over here, just some various stuff. Got sugar apple seedling that popped up after a year. Just some red jabos, random Suriname cherry seedlings, fig cuttings. Actually, I have a fig cutting over here that's doing really well. This is a celestial fig, so this is, I'm pretty sure, is rooted, but I'll come back to this side here in a sec. Got a bunch of stuff going on over here. I know I did a video on this yesterday, showing off the fruit of mystery, but I've got some things I try to do cuttings on. I am never successful doing guava cuttings. I don't know why. I hear that they're easy, but I just have not had any success in it. But these finger lime cuttings that I took, they're still green. I haven't seen any new growth on them. There's a little bit of scale in there. I thought I wiped all the bugs off, but they're still in there. But they're green, so I'll keep them moist until they're popping out new growth, and maybe I'll have some potted finger limes on the lanai. That'd be cool. But yeah, actually Bellamy sent me 6 of those Plenia coronata Asukana seeds. I ordered 3, he gave me 6. Thanks, Bellamy, if you see this, appreciate it. I hope they all pop up. What else? So the Anthropophaga, no, sorry, this is the Burkhartiana seeds I got from Bellamy last year. They're doing really good. One thing I noticed is, so this is one that got decapitated, part of that event, and it's coming back pretty good. One thing I noticed with these is they will put a leaf out. It'll be like a nice, brilliant red color, and they kind of look like they're chlorotic for a while, but that's actually just part of the, it's kind of like a hardening off process, I guess. So they just kind of look chlorotic and then get a dark green like this. So, but each of these seeds seem to have different properties on how they look, which is interesting. They're like more wavy and whatnot, depending on the different plant. But like this one, for example, has like crazy wavy leaves, but it looks like they're pointed, but it's actually just, the leaf is just wavy. I don't know why. But they're all the same seed. They all look the same when the leaf comes up. When they actually start hardening off, they're all kind of unique, which is pretty cool. So far they seem to be doing pretty well in the Tampa area. They're just getting morning sun. I'm going to slowly move them into more and more sunlight as they get older, but yeah, we'll see what happens with those guys. And then these 2 guys are the grafted Luke's Garcinias. So this is the one that Adam sent, and he's like, well, it was kind of a small plant, so I'll send you 2. And so now I have 2, and they both pushed out. This one is in the process of pushing out a new branch with it. I just love them because they have this like crazy like hot pink color. It was a little more pink yesterday. It's starting to harden off, but they're just really cool. So hopefully, because they're grafted, I'll get a fruit in a couple of years off of them. So this is a what's this? Is this the rainforest plum? No, this is the Floribunda, Merceria floribunda. It's doing pretty good. It's interesting because it's putting on a lot of leafy growth, but it's not like the root system isn't really too crazy. So it might be pretty good in a pot for a long time, but maybe that characteristic will change over time. Here's the this is that unknown species of Eugenia. This is the Eugenia pitanga. They think it's a pitanga, or it is a pitanga, but they don't know the species. But it was in the Restinga. So I ordered a bunch of these seeds from Bellamy a year ago, so you can see where it's at now. It finally popped up after a year, and it's got another set of leaves coming out. So I think it's pretty set. And then I had this little privet stopper, the Eugenia ligustrina. I just like, I don't know, it's trying to live. It keeps pushing out like the same amount of leaves and then dropping the same amount of leaves as it pushes them out. But I mean, they get dark and they look nice. I mean, maybe it's just trying to build a root system while it's, you know, pushing out new leaves at the same time. Because it's still, I've had this, I don't know, maybe a year, and it's been about the same size. I don't see any roots popping up out of the bottom. So maybe I need to give it a little bit of fertilizer. I don't know. But we'll keep trying. And then I organized a lot of my red seedlings that I had. So I've got a bunch in here. There's some other stuff going on too. I've got like a Ariana right there in the bigger pot. There's some Sabras over here. Kind of the, you know, these plants here with the wavy leaves. There's just some tea leaves, the Camellia sinensis. Got some basil cuttings in here. And I've got these American Beauty dragon fruits, which I'm kind of torn on them because I like dragon fruit, but they just take up so much real estate compared to what you get out of them. So I might try to sell them now that they're rooted. I bought them as unrooted cuttings, but I don't know, we'll see. Maybe I can convince someone to let me put some dragon fruit in their yard, and I'll take care of them for them. Well, I don't know. But yeah, these are just a bunch of reds. I'm going to have to either give them away or sell them at some point. But they're probably all about a year old, give or take a few months, depending on, you know, when the fruit set. Because I had, you know, early, what was it? It would have been fruit around March last year. So the big ones are a year old. The smaller ones are under 6 months. So moving over here, the this is the Vexator, Merceria Vexator. Doing good. It's got a lot of new growth. No sign of flowers yet. You know, I had actually rescued this one from a nursery in Tampa. They don't really seem to take care of some of their different Merceria species properly. I've noticed that a lot, and in more of the, I don't know what you call it, like high volume nurseries, they tend to ignore some of the requirements of some of these plants. Like they'll have, you know, potted Merceria or Myrtaceae plants just in full sun, and then they'll water them with tap water, which I guess you don't really have much of a choice when you're a nursery. But it you know, whenever I got this plant, it was burnt, it was yellow and veiny, and just did not look good. And I think it got, you know, a bunch of dieback on it, but since I've had it, it's gotten nice and green, and yeah. But this is the Plinia oblongata, and we've got a Plinia trunciflora gigante variety. These ones have been taking full sun since I got them, pretty much. They can handle the heat. They seem to be pretty well adapted to the area here. Now this is a Rosa de Pescos, I believe. Yeah, this is the Phitrantha, and it's doing all right. Like, it kind of looks funky. Like, it's got these really good leaves, and then it'll have some really bad leaves. I want to say that it's probably due to some kind of bugs that I can't see. I know when the worms are young, they get in there and they like eat the first layer of plant matter off of them. But they come out of it after a while. I've noticed. Like, just they just need some time to adapt. Scarlet, I pruned it up a little bit just to open up the bottom here. I know there was a discussion on the forum about whether or not you should prune them young or not. I like to prune them early. I know someone said that if you prune them early, it can reduce their time to reduce the or increase the amount of time that it takes for them to fruit. But I don't know. I kind of feel like if you don't want to prune them hard when they're young, but if you want to get them to a certain shape, it's better to do it when they're young, in my opinion, because I can get rid of, like, for example, these smaller branches. And if you get rid of these smaller branches early, then it's not going to put energy into growing branches on the tips of those smaller branches. That's kind of like logically what I would think. So that's kind of why I've been pruning it. I haven't pruned it hard, obviously. I just took a couple of branches off just to open it up and really promote growth on this stalk. If I had had this earlier, I probably would have pruned even like this whole extra sucker off, or the extra sprout, because these are like polyembryonic, right? So ideally I would just want one trunk for it to focus all of its energy into getting fat on. But I kind of like the look of the dual trunk ones too, so it's not the end of the world. But another thing that happens when you prune these things is that it really promotes growth. So there's hormones that get released both in the plant when you cut it, but also when you chop up the leaves and the branches. It's like aerosolized, as I understand, and it promotes growth, and not only this plant but other plants nearby. I don't know if that's true for all plants, but as I understand, that is the case for a lot of different plants. Like even cabbages, when they get eaten by bugs, they produce a chemical that attracts predator insects. So, ooh, what is this? Oh, it's a flower. Look at that. So this is the Eugenia stipitata, the Aracaboy, however it's pronounced. It's been flowering pretty heavily. They smell really good. It's like sweet tarts, candy. Now, I don't know if any of the fruit has set, but pretty. I don't know. From what I've noticed, like with the Suriname cherries and the Patanga tuba, I had the first time that my Patanga tuba flowered, didn't set any fruit. It had just a couple of flowers, and then it flowered again. And this is kind of the second flowering on this one that I was showing a minute ago, and it only set like 2 to 3 fruit, even though it had like over 100 flowers on it. So I'm hoping that this one is kind of in the same stage that one was in, where it's finally done a good flower. It's going to set a couple of fruit. Oh, cat fight. And that these flowers won't drop off. I noticed, like yesterday, I was touching the flowers here and they were dropping off. I'm kind of expecting most of them to drop off though. But I'm really hoping that these will set at least 1 or 2. I've been hand pollinating them a little bit, but yeah, we'll see. I'm sure eventually I'll get a fruit off of it, but it's looking pretty good. Let's see what else is going on. I've got some other things over here. So I've got a really nice red seedling. So this is just a really good shape. Like, it just grew like this. I haven't pruned this thing at all. So I'm keeping this one for me. Hopefully to have, even more reds over time. There's a mango. I've got some ice cream beans. I think it's Ingavira from later last year. This one's a little burnt out. Looks like a worm's been eating on it. See, this is what I was talking about, where that, let me try and get it in the right light. They kind of eat that first layer of plant matter off of it. and it leaves little burnt marks, and it kind of twists the foliage a bit, but plants will come out of it. Let's see, yeah, so we got my Eugenia piriformis out here. These are the Dolces. They're looking really good. They seem to be similar to the Cherry of the Rio, and kind of like the tolerance from what I've seen. Like, they can take the heat, they can take, I think they can take a little bit of drought, but they're just much more pretty. Like, they've got more color to them when they come out. And yeah, they're a little bit bushier though. This is a Zildart Suriname seedling. Got a Plinia edulis Cambuca right there. Was it 1 out of 3 of my seeds from Oscar sprouted, and actually made it to where it pushed out true leaves. It looks like it's getting ready to push out another flush of growth. But one thing that's interesting about this Cambuca is it seems like the leaves are a bit more rounded and less elongated. So the one I have in the ground outside has, more elongated and thinner leaves. But we'll see what the next set of leaves look like on this. Maybe it's just, a little difference. But I have heard there's like kind of 2 different varieties of Cambuca out there, at least that are readily available. Because the Cambuca I got was from a guy in Puerto Rico on the forum. I can't think of his name, or was it Puerto Rico? Probably. But so it's probably a different source. I gotta water this. These are the Plinia Orianas that I grew from a seed from Bellamy last year. So these are about a year old from seed. They're looking really nice. I pruned them up a bit. I got rid of the suckers. So this one had, a couple of extra sprouts coming out, and I just decided early on, let's see what happens if I prune these off. And that was probably the best idea I could have done for this tree, because it was kind of, matching its resources that it had into the different stems coming out. But now it's just got really nice dark growth. Before it was kind of spindly and kind of burny looking, and now that it's able to focus its energy, it kind of looked like this before, right? Now it's able to focus its energy. It seems to be doing a little better. Now here's my rainforest plum right here, and that's doing really nice. It's looking a little veiny. I might need to hit it with some fertilizer. Definitely come with the water over there. Let's see. Miracle Fruit, they're really taking off. They're growing real slow. This is their, I want to say, year 2.5, roughly. Year 2 at least. I grew them from seed from Fruit and Spice Park. I think this is the small leaf variety. But they're pretty easy to grow, but they just take a long time. Blueberries, I think I gotta eat these because they're starting to dry up. Actually, this is an emerald blueberry variety, and it's really nice. Okay, and here is my mango seedlings that I'm going to be practicing mango grafting on. I think I over fertilized them with a salt-based fertilizer early on, and I since moved away from that, and I'm using the Espoma citrus and avocado fertilizer on them, and they seem to be doing a lot better now. So you can see kind of the new growth. I don't know, I think this is definitely like a nutrient burn. I've been moving away from those for a while. I've got a whole big bag of it, and it doesn't cause me anything but problems when I use it. So, but they're looking good now. I've got, what was it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mangoes I can try to graft. I know I'll be getting probably some orange sherbet cuttings or scions this year, because I'll be tipping my branches, and I'll see if I can graft from that. But let's see how that ends up. Let's see, yeah, black sapote seedling. This is just another Cherry of the Rio. And here's the jackfruit seedlings that I had in the bags. I've given a couple of them away. They're looking a little, it looks like they're having nutrient deficiency, but this is actually sunburn. I had them in the shade for a bit, and I moved them out, and they're pretty sunburnt. But the new leaves coming out look nice, so they'll be fine. I'll probably, I'll put into stuff. I'll probably pot these up a little bit, so I only filled the bags halfway. I'll probably take them out, fill up the bag a little more, and let it root a little deeper. They'll look a lot better. These are just strawberry guavas and Suriname cherries and black sapote seedlings that I've grown. They really need to be potted up. Most of them do. But I'm just lazy. I don't really, they're not like super special, so I haven't gotten around to it yet. Let's see. Then we've got my chocolate bubblegum pepper, 7-pot. It's got some nice ripe big fat peppers on them, so I'll be trying those later. I've had a couple of them off of them since it started producing fruit, and they taste really nice. They're extremely hot. They're like Carolina Reaper hot, I would say, pretty close to. But the smaller ones don't have as much flavor as the bigger ones typically. This is another bubble gum, but it's not doing as good as this one. Yeah, let me move to the outside. I know this video is starting to get a little long and show kind of what everything looks like now. It's all starting to grow up a bit, but my tropical spinach area is very full. There's like Katuk and Longevity, Sisu. See, there's a Katuk right there. Got some herbs in here. This is basil. I've been propagating the basil, just putting it everywhere. Suriname spinach as well. This is actually interesting because I thought it died off from the winter last year, but it's coming back from the tips. But that's the Suriname spinach reseeds itself very easily, so it's actually everywhere in my yard. And you can grow them from cuttings too, but they all taste pretty good. I put one of my Plenia Orianas here in the ground, and it's looking like it's pretty happy, if I do say so. So we'll see how that looks over time. And this is actually a pretty good spot. It doesn't, like, it gets sun all day, but like the morning sun kind of comes over here, and when it gets more intense, it's actually coming through 2 layers of full screen. So it's also kind of surrounded by all the vegetation, so it's been pretty happy there. Let's see, got some star fruits that I'm not taking care of very well in these pots. I'm just trying to give them away to neighbors. I'm not a super big fan of star fruit, but I think they're really cool trees. But let's see, I've got a garnet cherry de Rio in the ground here, put a red in the ground here. Here's the Cambuca. Let's see what that's looking like up close. I know some of the leaves, some of these leaves, they're actually burnt when I got them. It wasn't me, I swear. But it's been in full sun. I haven't watered. I watered it this week a couple times because we haven't had rain in a long time, and it's been hot during the day. But I'm not sure if this is sunburn. Let's see if I can get a better angle. I'm not sure if that's sunburn or not, or some kind of fungal thing. But only a couple of leaves really have issues. I see like some spotting there, but that might actually just be some damage. This looks like sunburn to me. But all in all, like, the leaves are pretty green. And I smell something funky over here. Maybe it's the gas from that weed eater I'm smelling. But it's got new growth coming out. You can see that on the tips there. So we'll hopefully have a new flush soon. We'll get to see what that looks like. But usually if the new flushes come out and they look good, there's not much to worry about. Oh, yeah, here we go. Here's a couple of flushes coming out, so I'm sure it's happy. Some other things. Passion fruit over here is just loaded. I've been hand pollinating them to make sure that we get a good amount of fruit, but I won't go all the way through it, but you can kind of see just we're gonna have some juice at the very least. I don't there's gonna be more passion fruits than we can eat. And passion fruit is one of my favorite things. But the pigeon peas are still producing peas and all that, but I'll come around that side here in a sec. Well, I don't want to make the video too long, but so we'll speed it up. Starfruit's doing good. Now, one thing to note, when you see yellowing in your starfruit like that, that's normal. they shed their leaves, and when they drop the leaves, new growth comes out. You know, it looks like it needs water, but it doesn't. I know people can make that mistake and actually hurt their trees. But yeah. Oh, also, I've been planting even more native plants in the ground. So these are all like native flowering plants. I can't remember what the name of this is, but I've got them scattered like everywhere all around the yard. Mulberry's been producing a lot of fruit for me. Actually, there's some on here. Let's see. How are we looking? It hasn't been raining, so they're not as juicy as they could be. But this is just a Thai everbearing. They're pretty tasty. Jackfruits I planted in here are still doing good. I got this squash that planted itself. There's squash growing, but I feel like because there's not been a lot of rain, it looks like bugs are eating it. Not going to get a squash, but that's okay. Trying to see the jackfruits. I know they're in here. Oh, there's one. Looks like it's a little burnt. Yeah, here we go. So these ones aren't growing too fast over here, but there's also not, it's not as good of soil as elsewhere. I know there's another, here's another one. New leaves are coming out looking fine. I thought there was more than these. Oh yeah, here's another one right there. So there's 3 jackfruits right there, so we'll see survival of the fittest, which one actually comes through. I got this red rainbow line that is kind of pathetic looking. Again, I think it's just the soil here is bad, but it's had a couple of bouts of dieback. I don't think it's greening because it's not showing signs of greening like in the leaves. So what you look for in the leaves and greening is kind of disproportionate discoloration. So you would think like, okay, well that's a sign, but if you look at the bottom side, it's actually just damage from insects. Probably spider mites, maybe. That might be what the problem is. And then you've got, you know, the leaf miners coming in here doing damage. So this thing's suffering. It's in full sun. Well, depends on the time of the year. It'll probably recover a little bit because it gets a little shadier on this side this time of the year. But it's still flowering and setting fruit. So hopefully it will get some cadence in it. Even though it did die back, it's pushed out a whole bunch of really nice like dark green growth. So I'm not worried about it. Let's see, composting a tree I cut down in the front. I've got my ice cream beans that I direct sowed in the ground here. I think I directly sowed them, I can't remember. Maybe I put them in very shortly after they germinated. But they're doing all right. I've got this pipe vine that is going crazy, and I'm waiting on the pipe vine caterpillar to come back and eat this thing. I don't want to chop it back, but if it gets too crazy, I'll have to start chopping it. But the pipevine caterpillar comes from a swallowtail. Actually, are these eggs here? Potentially. Maybe that kind of looks like scale to me. But it's a beautiful, like, deep blue and black swallowtail. And they have, like, a really cool... there's a big fat lizard on here. Oh, there he goes. They have a really cool larva, the caterpillar, which is like red, so they're just really fun critters. Got a elderberry there that looks a little pathetic. It's not been watered. It's just a cutting. I might give it a little bit of help. Seashore mangosteen, a bunch of longevity spinach, doing great. They got eaten by some bugs since I put it in the ground. We had these moths, the caterpillars from the moths, just explode recently, and that's what was eating on this. But this new growth, you can see, I don't know if this is consistent for anyone else, but on the seashore mangosteen, the new growth comes out like yellow, and it looks like it is chlorotic. But actually, once it hardens off, the leaf will turn green. I mean, you can see the difference, like, and it actually kind of looks cool. But it will eventually turn green, and once that turns green, I find that it'll flush out some new growth. So I've got all the ones in pots over there that are doing the same thing. Let's see. just some peppers. This lemon drop mangosteen is doing all right. Hasn't put out any new growth, but I suspect it's because we haven't had any rain. But what the heck is that? Got a funky bug. What is that bug? Someone tell me. See if I can zoom in on it. Some kind of assassin bug, maybe? I don't know. Hasn't put out any new growth. Still green. It's getting a little faded from the sun that's starting to increase in UV. So I don't know. Hopefully once we get our summer rains, it'll start perking back up. Got this guy. It got burnt by the sun. That was my mistake. This is the Madruno Garcinia. So I moved one of the seashore mangosteens to kind of block it a little bit from the sunlight. So hopefully it'll come back. If not, oh well. I'll just get another one. But let's see, what else? I had a tomato that just decided that it wanted to grow here, but that's okay because it's kind of shading out these imbies, which, let's see, 3 out of 4 of the imbies here are doing okay. This one, not doing so well. I think it got a little burnt too. That's alright, I'll just get my hands on some more. Hopefully 3 out of 4 I'll have a male and a female. Oh look, I got another tomato growing in here. That's fun. Let's see. Got some loquat seedlings. Avocados are spitting some stuff out. Looks like we'll have like one fruit of each type. So there's a day avocado and a Brazos Bell that I planted in the same hole. I want to see what happens with that. It's kind of an experiment. I love avocados, but yeah, they're so readily available. Yeah, I don't know how much of an advantage there is to having your own, but I've never had anything other than a store avocado. So there's actually a couple more fruits. This is my first attempt at trying and growing a different variety of avocado at home. Ooh, yeah, look at this one. So, plan on keeping it pruned small. I don't want it to be bigger than 10 feet and wider than probably the same amount. But my idea is that eventually the trunks will get big enough and fuse together. We'll see what happens. Peanut butter fruit. My pawpaw, Asmina triloba. So this is not the native one here. Well, it is native, but their normal range is like northern Florida up to Canada. It does okay. It actually looks better than it ever has. You know, they go dormant every year and they come back. I had 2 of them, but this oak tree here had like fallen over here, and the other one was in front of that mango, and it got crushed. The mango wasn't there at the time, but it got crushed by the tree and never came back. So even if this thing does flower, I probably won't get a fruit, just because I don't have 2. But maybe if it does start flowering, I can get a scion from somebody and graft it on. So we'll see what happens. But at the very least, people might not know, this actually attracts a extremely rare butterfly. It's endangered. It's a zebra swallowtail, and they're beautiful. It's a larval host plant for that. Let's see. So loquat. I put a limequat in the ground right there. Let's see. Yeah, here's the Patomba. And I've got these ants farming scale. Let's see if we can see the ant. Come on. So they're all up in here, and let me see if I can find a fruit. So yeah, you can see on the fruits that are forming, there's scale, these little bumps. So the ants have decided that the juicy fruits are a good spot to put scale, which I don't disagree, but I do disagree because I want to eat the fruits. So what I've been doing is I move the pot out here, and I'm laying it on its side once the sun comes down, and it's hopefully going to reduce the ant population. I'm trying to, I don't know, smoke them out with heat during the afternoon. and then I water it in and scare them out and repeat that process. I've heard if you do it for like a week or so, they'll eventually move on. I'll keep moving the pot around the yard too. And then once the ants are gone, I've got like 3,000 ladybugs. And I mentioned that before, but I'll release them on this plant in the lanai and have them clean up because there's no predator insects in the lanai. But let's see. This is the Dovialis hybrid gooseberry thing. Still not producing any fruit, but it's got these cool little spiders that hang out on the underside of the leaves here. You can see that. I found out recently that they actually do put runners up, so that was good to know a year later. So we'll probably be dealing with those, but I'll just keep an eye out for them and pull them up when I see them, I guess. But the fruit is supposed to be like a really nice sour boarhead flavor, which I'm a big fan of. And there's no seeds in them, so you can just pop them in and go to town on them. Sugar apples coming back from dormancy. So we get over to this side. Let's see. I've got some Garcinia xanthochymus. They're getting kind of burnt up from the sun, so I've moved plants in front of them to block it. This is another garnet cherry of the Rio. Got my orange sherbet. It set fruit, but it dried up and dropped off. I don't think it was ready for it yet. So that'll be pushing out new growth. Same with the lemon zest. I was going to pick the fruit off of that anyways, but it figured it out on its own. Got another lemon drop mangosteen here. There's another xanthochymus Garcinia there. This jackfruit over here is doing pretty good. This is one of the ones that I direct sowed, and it's looking really nice. I think once it gets past all these ferns, it'll start taking off. But it's a pretty good spot for cold protection, but it might take a lot longer for it to produce a fruit. Got a lemon strawberry guava here, or lemon Cattleya guava. This passion fruit vine here is going all the way through the oak canopy. Got black sapote back there. The direct sowed Jabuticaba is still alive, but it's very slow compared to my other ones. And there's some oranges and Suriname cherries in there too. Got ice cream banana there. And it's not the blue Java, that's the one that people mistake for blue Java all the time. Was it the Namwa? I've got a direct sowed pomelo here. It's doing pretty good. I've got a Japanese maple that had been struggling for a while, and I finally realized that they need a little bit of shade. So I actually put it here, and it's doing fantastic. It looks really good. It was really pretty whenever it was all red. But I'm hoping now that I figured out a good spot for it, it'll continue to grow, and I'll prune it and make it look pretty. Make some nice shade over here in the corner. Yuzu said a lot of fruit. There's a dead bug. That's a dead ladybug. Looks like a bird got him. Last year this thing made some fruit, but it was dry, unfortunately. But I think it was because I put it in the pot for the first time. And it really didn't get its roots out. But it's just loaded with fruit now. There's probably 30, 50 fruit on it. So we'll see how many drop off and how many make it to maturity. But fingers crossed this year for that. Got some spicy peppers on the ground. If I come over here, here's some more native milkweed. This is the pink swamp milkweed. So it's important to get that, not the tropical stuff, because the tropical stuff doesn't die back. And there's a bacteria that can get on monarch butterflies that can cause them to be deformed and not be successful. So when it dies back, it kind of resets it to zero. So it makes it safe for the monarch, or safer for the monarchs. The cha-cha is doing good. Looks like it's hardening off a little bit to the sunlight here. So this is all new growth that came out since I put it in the ground. You can see it's a little burnt on the tip there. Overall, it's doing really well. Yeah, it's a fruit fly right there. But yeah, there's some Suriname spinach that planted itself at the base, which I'll actually leave there. Then I'll just show off Carolina Reaper right here. Ooh, scary. Mystery mango. I think it's a Valencia Pride. It's actually set some fruit. Let's go over there and look at that. So this is the first time I got it when it was a twig and put it in the ground. It died back when we had some cold, and was it 2019, 2020? It got down to like 28 degrees back here. And it didn't freeze back to the graft, but it did freeze back pretty low. So it's taking a hit, and it's growing back real slow. But now we got some fruit on it, and I don't think it's going to drop off. I mean, these are swelling up, so I'm just going to let it do its thing. It's got a pretty thick trunk on it. You can see, like, let me put my hand for scale. Like, it's a pretty thick trunk. Got a pineapple in there, making a pineapple. Let's see. There's a seed-grown kumquat in there somewhere. You can't really see it, but Canistel, still no signs of growth, but also no signs of death. So seems to be doing okay. I'm sure it's just growing roots right now. Ice cream bananas still haven't put out a flower this year, but I think it's because I've been removing pups off of it, and I should probably just not do that. So this ice cream bean here, let's see if we, I think it might have a little sprout coming out right there. You can't really, there's like a little nub coming up. So it died back after some heavy winds when I put it in the ground. I think it might be coming back, so we'll see. Guaymak looking good, putting out a whole bunch of new growth. I chopped back this papaya that was shading it out a bit, and it's just exploding. Got some blueberries on the blueberry right there. Persimmons coming in, figs coming in, lots of little figs popping up on it. Check this out. Just those will be ready by July, I would imagine. Maybe sooner. Another thing I did is I put my Sabra in the ground. I know I said I wasn't going to do that, but then I did. I was thinking, like, I want a really tall Sabra that has a crap load of fruit on it, and you know, this is a pretty good spot. It gets a lot of sun most of the day, but obviously when the sun goes that way in the afternoon, it's protected from like the most intense UV. So I imagine as it gets older, it'll get taller. Eventually, you know, probably be as tall as the house, right? Maybe even bigger. But you know, really excited about seeing how this one turns out in the ground. It's taken the heat really well. I think Sabra is probably the best variety to grow in Florida in terms of hardiness. I think that's pretty known, but like from my experience, it's true. I'm sure. I think Oblongata is probably a pretty good one too, just by judging how it's been reacting. Same for the Trunciflora. But finger limes going nuts. It's getting crazy. That's the red one. The one over there is a green one. They have flowered. I haven't checked on the fruit, but it takes a while for them to swell up. As I got my Rodinia in the ground. This is Zildark, which I don't think is a Zildark anymore. I think I actually cut a graft off on the bottom whenever I pruned the tree that I thought it was a seedling, but I don't think it is a seedling because you know, these are not darkening up like I thought they did whenever it was fruiting from that branch I cut off. So fortunately I got some seeds from that and planted them out, but I might be removing this cherry because the fruits really aren't that good on it compared to the Zildark. I'll just leave it in here for now though. Milkweed, cranberry, hibiscus. Oh yeah, the cacao is doing really good. This is the last of the cacaos that I have, but you know, planted down here in semi-shade, it's doing pretty good. Putting out new leaves. You know, it's darkening up. It's got more leaves on the way, so Barbados cherry is shading it out, and actually we got some fruit forming on it here. You can see that. I really like the Barbados cherries. They're super tasty. See, there's a spider right here too. Check him out. These are really cool orb weavers. All right, getting close to an hour, so I'm gonna close this off real quick. The jackfruits that were getting attacked by the squirrels these are the best looking ones. You know, I'm hoping they'll all eventually fuse together into one tree. If not, I'll have to cull off the weak links. Orange tree, these Valencia oranges still aren't getting ripe. Don't know why, but it already set a whole bunch of fruit again. Julie mango is doing good. It looks like it's pushing out some new growth. So I picked off all the fruit. So got some direct sown jabuticabas here that are doing all right. That one there, that one there. It might need a little bit of fertilizer. Ice cream bean here. This guava here is doing pretty good. Let's see. Grimmichama, put it in the ground. This is the black one. Doing all right. Come over here to the front. We got some plums ripening up on it. Look at that. Oh, yeah. Peaches are still doing pretty good. I got a grimmel on the ground now. The grimmel I had in the pot, put it here, pruned it up a little bit. It's doing all right. It's a little shaded from this papaya, so hopefully that'll help it harden off. My pineapple guava is blooming over there still. Got a key lime. The pomegranate, I think it's a Azada variety. It's like a off-white colored fruit. This is Cherry of the Rio. It's got some fat fruits on it. That's not a very good looking one, but there you go. These are okay. I'm not a big fan. Like I said, I'll probably top work that. But yeah, kind of finishing off here. This seedling strawberry guava that I grew. I don't think it's setting fruit. It did flower, but it's looking pretty good. I got a Eugenia piriformis in the ground here, being shaded out a little bit by that dill. It's getting burnt up in the sun on the new growth, but I'm just going to let it get burnt up because it'll figure itself out. This Pitanga tuba here, it is still flowering, but I think it's dropping all of the flowers. It's not setting any fruit. But this is, you know, it needs more time to grow. But we'll see if it sets a fruit. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you stuck around this long, thanks. If you skipped ahead, I don't blame you. But y'all take care.